ठीक है जी। नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय.
So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 6, chapter number 1, verse number 19. Sakrinmana Krishna Padar Vindayo Nirveshitam Tad Guna Ragi Yariha Nate Yamam Pashrabhritascha Tad Bhatan
Nate yamam basa bhatan
Swapne api pashyanti hi chiran nishkrita.
swapne pi
पश्यन्ति चरना निष्कृतः.
Would somebody like to read?
I'll read, Mataji.
ठीक है जी, thank you. Or nice to hear you after a long time, Mataji.
Yeah, same here, Mataji. Translation:
Please
although
do.
not having fully realized Krishna, persons who have even once surrendered completely unto his lotus feet and who have become attracted to his name, form, qualities, and pastimes are completely freed of all sinful reactions, for they have thus accepted the true method of atonement. Even in dreams, such surrendered souls do not see Yamaraj or his order carriers, who are equipped with ropes to bind the sinful. Purport. Shall I continue with the purport?
Ji, please do.
Yeah. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 18.66, Sarv dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarv papebhyo mokshishyami ma shucha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. This same principle is ascribed here. Sakrena manha Krishna padara vindyo. If by studying Bhagavad Gita one decides to surrender to Krishna, he is immediately freed from all sinful reactions. It is also significant that Shukadev Goswami, having several times repeated the words Vasudev Parayana and Narayan Parayana, finally says Krishna Padar Vindyaho. Thus, he indicates that Krishna is the origin of both Narayan and Vasudev. Even though Narayan and Vasudev are not different from Krishna, simply by surrendering to Krishna, one fully surrenders to all his expansions such as Narayan, Vasudev, and Govinda. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7.7, Matha Parataram Nanyat, there is no truth superior to me. There are many names and forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Krishna is the supreme form. Krishna is to Bhagwan Swayam. Therefore, Krishna recommends to neophyte devotees that one should surrender unto him only, Mam Ekam, because neophyte devotees cannot understand what the forms of Narayan, Vasudev, and Govinda are. Krishna directly says, Mam Ekam. Herein, this is also supported by the word Krishna Padar Vindyaho. Krishna Narayana does not speak personally, but Krishna or Vasudev does, as in Bhagavad Gita, for example. Therefore, to follow the direction of Bhagavad Gita means to surrender unto Krishna. To surrender in this way is the highest perfection of Bhakti Yoga. Parikshit Maharaj had inquired from Shukadev Goswami how one can be saved from falling into the various conditions of hellish life. In this verse, Shukadev Goswami answers that a soul who has surrendered to Krishna certainly cannot go to Naraka, hellish existence. To say nothing of going there, even in his dreams, he does not seek Yamaraj or his order carriers who are able to take one there. In other words, if one wants to save himself from falling into Naraka, hellish life, he should fully surrender to Krishna. The word Sakrit is significant because it indicates that if one sincerely surrenders to Krishna once, he is saved even if by chance he falls down by committing sinful activities. Therefore, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9.30, Api chet suduracharo bhajte mam ananya bhak sadhur ev sa mantavya samyag vyavasito hi saha. Even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. If one never for a moment forgets Krishna, he is safe, even if by chance he falls down by committing sinful acts. In the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 2.40, the Lord says, Neha bhi krama nasosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalapam api asya dharmasya tarayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Elsewhere in the Gita 6.40, the Lord says, Nahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatim tatah gachati. One who performs auspicious activity is never overcome by evil. The highest kalyan, auspicious activity is to surrender to Krishna. That is the only path by which to save oneself from falling down into hellish life. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati has confirmed this as follows. Kaivalyam narkayate tridasapur akasha pushpayate दुर्दान्त्रेद्या काला सर्पपताली प्रोत्खाता दमश्रते विश्वम पूर्ण सुखायते विधि महेन्द्रादिश्च कीटयते यत् कारुण्य कटाक्ष वैभवतां तं गौरम एव स्तुमः चैतन्य चंद्रामृता 5. The sinful actions of one who has surrendered unto Krishna are compared to a snake with its poison fangs removed. Protkata damshratyate. Such a snake is no longer to be feared. Of course, one should not commit sinful activities on the strength of having surrendered to Krishna. However, if one who has surrendered to Krishna happens to do something sinful because of his former habits, such sinful actions no longer have a destructive effect. Therefore, one should adhere to the lotus feet of Krishna very tightly and serve him under the direction of the spiritual master. Thus, in all conditions, one will be akuto bhaya, free from fear. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Would you like to add some comments too?
No, Mataji, I would like to hear you.
ठीक है जी. Thank you, Mataji, for reading. Really appreciate it. So, again, high level. Seems like here Sukadev Goswami is actually condensing everything that he has shared in the verses, in the previous verses. Here he's in the translation, it says, who have even once surrendered completely unto his lotus feet and who have become attracted to his name, form, qualities, and pastimes are completely freed from all sinful reactions. So Sukadev Goswami was asked, hey, what is the method of atonement? And now Sukadev Goswami is explaining the best method of atonement is Krishna Padar Vindayo. And he says that if we have been given a lot of, with Prabhupada's mercy, we have been given a lot of avenues. There was a lecture I was listening to, and there is devotees congregations where we can get together and read the books, we can chant, we can hear. Thanks to COVID, now we can hear these kathas through Zoom online. We don't need to necessarily go in the temple if not visible. We can listen to all those things. So here it's saying, if by studying Bhagavad Gita, one decides to surrender, he's immediately freed from all sinful reactions. So Parikshit Maharaj asked, what is the best way of atonement from these sinful reactions? And Sukadev Goswami is very nicely explaining, following Krishna's Bani and surrendering to Krishna. So when we say surrendering to Krishna, what does it mean practically for us? We haven't seen Krishna. What do you mean by surrendering Krishna? Surrendering to Krishna means following what he says, following his Bani, following his instructions, whether it's Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the same thing. So when we say following his instructions, where are those instructions? Those instructions are either Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or Chaitanya Charitamrita. Here Prabhupada is very beautifully saying, Narayana Parayana, Vasudeva Parayana, Krishna Padar Vinde. Right? They are the same, whether you talk about Narayan, whether you talk about Vasudev, who's existing everywhere, or you talk about Krishna, they are all the same. But Krishna says, Krishna is here to help us understand how to get back, how to atone for the sinful reactions, because sinful reactions keep happening. Despite of we try to put a pause with bhakti, we try to do the minimal of the sinful activities, but those keep on happening. Let go of anything else. Eating kills so many bacteria. So breathing does the same. Walking does the same. So not willingly, these things are still happening and they are out of control. You can't stop eating, breathing, thinking, hey, I don't want to be sinful. The bodies should be leveraged for Krishna service. So then they are saying there are many forms of Supreme Personality of Godhead that one can be attracted towards and should learn to surrender to him. And Prabhupada beautifully says, neophyte devotees might not know. So we read with Prabhuji's mercy, we are reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita and whatnot. A neophyte who might not have a chance to read so much at this very moment might not know these philosophies and might not know, different forms of Krishna. So Krishna directly says here, Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Simply come to me and surrender. Prabhupada says, Krishnastu Bhagwan Svayam. So you are the only one, and we should be surrendering to Krishna. Again, following the same thing, that we should be following the instructions. And here Prabhupada beautifully says, follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita and follow the instructions through a spiritual master. Spiritual master, as Chaitanya Charitamrita says, spiritual master could be the initiating master, spiritual master could be the instructing master, spiritual master could be the one who is preaching or teaching these instructions to us. There could be many instructing spiritual masters that we can have. Anybody from whom we are learning something that we can apply in our spiritual life is an instructing spiritual master for us. So if we follow what they are preaching, we will eventually, slowly will start to surrender to Krishna. And here the word, Prabhupada is saying the word Sakrit is significant because it indicates that if one sincerely surrenders to Krishna once, he's saved even by chance. Even if by chance he falls by committing sinful activities. Well, we started to read Bhagavatam and we can see so many examples where Krishna helps. Ajamil we are reading today is one of the perfect example. Bharat Maharaj that we have read, just a simple mistake of attachment. And that too with a pure heart of saving that soul. Where did it lead Bharat Maharaj? Where Krishna was there supporting him. In the next life too, as dear, he was atoning in the sense he had this memory of the previous one, what not to do in this life. So Krishna is always there helping his associates, his devotees. And here also, Prabhupada says, I'm just reading. Prabhupada said, if one never for a moment forgets Krishna, he said, even if by chance he falls down by committing sinful acts. Look at the standard Prabhupada setting. If one never for a moment forgets Krishna, he's safe, even if by chance he falls down by committing sinful acts. So this is the standard Prabhupada setting, that we should not be, even for a moment, shouldn't be forgetting Krishna. So how do we do that? That's something that we need to discuss with our spiritual masters, with the fellow devotees on how, the life is super busy 24/7. We are on the go. So how can we remember Krishna in that time is something that we need to discuss with our spiritual master, even devotees or instructing spiritual master. And here how beautifully Prabhupada also says there is no loss or diminution or a little advancement on the path of this bhakti. All the most dangerous types of fear will be gone. There was a lecture I was listening where Krishna Prabhuji was saying, Shravanam. Shravanam is the beginning of bhakti, and Shravanam is the goal of bhakti, in the sense that you wanted to listen to Krishna through devotees in the beginning to know him, and you want to continue listening through devotees about Krishna to relish Krishna as the goal of bhakti. So if we continue to do that, there is no loss. Like if we practically look at it, what loss are we talking about? Krishna actually comes in through chanting, takes away all the garbage, gives all the good things, and gives himself to us. So it seems like a very positive or profitable business. And here Krishna says the highest kalyan. We talk about, we want to help people, we want to do this, we want to do that. What help can we do? Bhagavad Gita says you can't protect someone who's drowning just by protecting their clothes. So what help can we do? The best help we can do is to give them Krishna, is to help them surrender to Krishna, is to help them understand the instructions so they can follow and slowly, knowingly or unknowingly surrender to Krishna. And Krishna Prabhuji one day was saying beautifully, if you don't understand anything, imagine you don't understand anything, just follow the devotee. Just follow what the devotee says. They will help you take to the right path. And here Prabhupada is saying a snake. He's giving a very nice example of a snake. Bhakti is like as if the poison fangs of the snake has been taken off. No doubt the snake is still going to be scary because snake is a snake, but it's not going to be harmful. So it's like an example which Prabhuji always gives, we have turned off the fan, but it's the momentum that still keeps the wings moving, and it's going to take time to come to a stop. So even if by mistake, this is how merciful Krishna is, he understands in Kali Yuga, we are doomed. We have no hope whatsoever. And if we somehow still thinks we have a hope, then this is a problem then. We are completely doomed. And in that case, Prabhupada or Krishna is still saying, even if you commit some mistake, I understand, because this is how your mind works. This is how the condition you are in. Yet, I'll be there to help you. Because of his former habits, such sinful actions has no longer have a destructive effect. But there is a condition, but as long as I don't try to do it deliberately. Like I don't want to be saying, oh, that's okay, I'm chanting. I'm preaching, I'm doing this, so I can do this. No. Mistakes can happen, they happen all the time. As long as they are happening not deliberately, Krishna is there to help us out. Krishna. And Prabhupada very beautifully summarizes the verse saying, hold Krishna's lotus feet very tightly. What does that mean? I am not seeing Krishna, how can I hold his feet? Means you follow his instructions very thoroughly. Like we are at the sadhak stage. That's why we see so many regulative principles have been given to us. You need to do Mangalarti, you need to chant, you need to follow the regulative principle. We need to do that tightly. Why? Because we can see the snakes. The senses are like snakes, which will take us in different directions if not controlled, and serve under the direction of spiritual master. So very beautiful and clear-cut instruction. Prabhupada do not leave any room for ambiguity. He's like, very tightly serve Krishna and serve him under the direction of your spiritual master. And this will take us away from fear, abhay. So that's from my side, Prabhuji and Mataji. Please go ahead and add something. Comment.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so just one small thing to add here. That the word, there's very important terminology used here. Although not having fully realized Krishna, persons who have even once surrendered completely. Now that's the key point here. having surrendered completely. When Krishna says Sarva Dharmana Parityajya, he means that. So sometimes devotees think, okay, I'll do anything. I'm chanting Hare Krishna, that's all right. So, see, there is Rupa Goswami says, Namno hi baladhyasya papa buddhir, committing sinful activities on the strength of holy name. So, Srila Prabhupada is explaining what is sinful activity. So, any activity which is not related to Krishna is actually in the category of sinful. In this material world, the basic principle is jivo jivasya jivanam. So, for any sort of enjoyment in this material world will have some degree of violence towards other living entities. So it is naturally sinful. So it is on the platform of lusty activities. So therefore, if one wants to be purified, one has to surrender completely to Krishna. Realization of Krishna is very difficult. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvata. So yatatam api siddhanam. So that's a very interesting point Krishna is making. Yatatam, those who are sadhakas, those who are trying. Api siddhanam, those who are already liberated. Amongst those also, there will be hardly a soul who would actually understand Krishna. So knowing Krishna is very, very difficult actually. Brahmabhuta prasannatva na shochati na kankshati samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. So when one has reached the stage of complete Brahmabhuta, completely Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, one who has completely reached the stage where one has understood the complete difference between material body and the soul, he is Brahmabhuta. So such a person can understand Krishna. So from that stage, one can actually start beginning his Krishna consciousness. Before that, we are sadhakas, we are practicing. So therefore, at this stage, we are still in danger. Of course, at this stage, like, Nehabhi Kramo Nashasti, this verse is quoted here. So, pratyavayo na vidyate, salpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. But Srila Prabhupada puts a condition here in one of his conversations. He says, yes, you will get opportunity, but we don't know after which birth. This opportunity will exist, but in between, how many births we'll have to take? Let's think of it this way. In this birth, at this stage, if we are not attracted to Krishna so much, in our next birth, we'll again get a similar opportunity. For example, right now there's a temple, we go to the temple, we chant, we sing, we come back. But we don't have any serious taste in understanding about Krishna, no serious contemplation of Krishna. We go to the temple, we come back, and we go back to our normal activities until the next Sunday or something, and then we think, okay, we'll think of Krishna at that time. In the next birth, similar opportunity will arise again. So what do we do at that time? We do not know whether we will get any more attraction to Krishna or not. For example, in this birth, we have rendered some devotional service. Krishna may reciprocate that by making us son of a millionaire or something. So in that position, will we still be attracted to Krishna? Now imagine we are surrounded with fabulous wealth. We are surrounded with fabulous opportunities for sense enjoyment. Will we find Krishna attractive at that time? Imagine you are the son of a millionaire. Like if you are in India, if you are the son of Ambani, and there is some brahmachari singing on the street, will you find him attractive? And there's a private jet waiting for you to take you to Switzerland so that you can enjoy your vacation with your girlfriend or whatever. And there's a brahmachari distributing Bhagavad Gita on the street. Will you find that attractive? So Prabhupada is warning that in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He's saying one should not rely on this. One should be very careful that one may or may not be able to again render devotional service. So as soon as there is opportunity, one should try to finish this process of sadhana bhakti in this birth itself. As much as possible, try to surrender to Krishna completely in this life. Certainly, any amount of devotional service done is beneficial, but there is always a great danger. We do not know after how many births we will again develop this faith in this process and in Krishna. Because as the ages will progress, there will be a decline in spiritual standards. And more, if we, suppose I die now, and my next birth is, say, next year. Next year, the standards would have fallen again. I'll need another 10, 15 years to come to my senses. First of all, to understand Krishna. There's a very nice example I have in front of me. There's a small boy who comes to our temple. Very small boy, maybe 6, 7 years old. And he has very strong faith in bhakti. He enjoys the association of devotees. But unfortunately, now he's going to a Karmi school. He's associating with the local boys. And gradually, his his faith is now shivering. Now his behavior has started changing. You see, because the external influence is very strong. He's in school for 5 days and is in temple for 2 hours. So you can imagine which one will have greater influence on him. So the material world is an extremely dangerous place. As Adi Shankaracharya is also saying, Iha sansare bahu dushtare, kripya pare pahi murare. That, my dear Lord, please deliver me. This material world is an extremely dangerous place. Very difficult place. Bahu dushtare, very difficult place to overcome. So therefore, even if the scriptures are promising, we should understand the conditions behind the scriptures. So Srila Prabhupada, now today we hear of ISKCON. I mean, just the other day, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami was giving some lecture on standards of bhakti. A very nice point he was explaining, that the standards of bhakti in times of Srila Prabhupada were very different from what we have now. This kind of Sunday bhakti did not exist in Prabhupada's times. Actually, devotees like us would be considered as friends of Krishna, not really devotees. Because devotee meant 24 hours of bhakti. In times of Srila Prabhupada, grahasthas, brahmacharis, sannyasis were all engaged 24 hours in bhakti. There was no conception of, owning an apartment, buying cars, and investing in futures and raising children to become engineers and doctors. There were no such misconceptions. Devotees were hard engaged in bhakti. They were always 24 hours. One devotee I was speaking to, he is like an old disciple of Srila Prabhupada, lives in America. He was explaining, he said, in times of Srila Prabhupada, we were afraid of Maya. We were very much afraid to walk on the streets outside, to meet with karmis and talk with them. We were afraid of our own family members, mother, father, brother, sister. We were afraid of them because we considered them to be completely infected with Maya. And we were scared that we will also get that infection if we associate with them. And therefore, we associated only with each other. If a devotee from one part of the country met another devotee on the street from another part of the country, if we just met on the street, we would greet each other, we would hug each other, we would feel so happy to see each other. Because we knew that we were the only family that existed. Everything else was just Maya. And we would queue up for prasadam, all of us together, brahmacharis, sannyasis, grahasthas. We would take prasad. We were afraid to talk about mundane topics. We only talked about Krishna. We were afraid to talk about anything not related to Krishna. In this way, we spent our days and nights, and we were confident that Srila Prabhupada is there and he is taking us back to Godhead. But as soon as Prabhupada passed away, everything faded. And he says, now I don't even know who am I and what am I doing. Now he says, now to me, bhakti itself seems like an illusion. To me, it seems just like a dream that I lived. So you see, the standard of bhakti has to go higher and higher. We cannot be satisfied with what we are doing. If we are satisfied, we should understand we are actually in Maya. Because these sins are waiting for us. Any moment, these sinful desires have existed within our heart. Reactions may be finished, but the desires are very much there. Meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, all such kinds of avanchita, all unwanted desires. Their roots are still within our heart. We have to purify those. And that would require, a lifetime of sadhana, a lifetime of hard practice. We cannot associate with karmis and expect to advance in bhakti. We cannot even associate with devotees who are not strong in bhakti. Because if we associate with those who are not strong in bhakti, they will also drag us down. Hare Krishna. Yes, any comments or suggestions or questions?
Hare Krishna, there was this point that the one who has surrendered completely to Krishna, so that means, isn't it, that he's like a pure devotee, or like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's not meaning like some sadhaka who falls down or something like that, isn't it? That meaning of that.
What?
That one who has surrendered to Krishna, and even if he falls down, then Krishna will.
Yeah.
So that there is not some sadhaka who has fallen down.
The one who takes shelter of Krishna. We haven't taken shelter of Krishna. We're still trying to. We still have faith in our abilities. We still have faith in our wealth, our family, our body. So when we have given up, like Prabhupada says, what is the meaning of surrender? So Prabhupada explains. He says, when you are convinced that nothing in this world, not your body, your education, your wealth, your family, nothing can protect you except Krishna. That is surrender. That is the meaning of surrender. When you become convinced that nothing in this world can protect you. Hare Krishna. Yes, so yes,
you may
Prabhu.
realize that. You
Hmm.
may realize that what you are
Hmm.
saying is correct. And you
Hmm.
say we have surrendered.
Hmm.
From inner of my heart, I have surrendered.
Hmm.
But it may not be enough then. So I have surrendered. But
Hmm.
whether Krishna has accepted it or not.
So you see, Krishna is Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto. He's in the heart of every living entity. He knows when we have actually surrendered. He knows when we have actually surrendered and when we are just pretending to surrender. When we actually surrender, Krishna accepts it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that when the living entity says, this comes in Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, that when the devotee says, "Oh Krishna, I am yours," at that time Krishna accepts him fully as his own, and all his sins are vanquished. After that, the devotee only has to work in devotional service. So then we should be working in devotional service. Then we should not go and work for ICICI Bank, or we should not go and work for General Electric Corporation. No, then we should only work for Krishna, knowing fully well that it is Krishna only, Krishna and Krishna alone who will protect us. Not these material organizations, not these banks, governments, or anything. Not even our own intelligence or body. At that time, when we work fully for Krishna, the best example of this is His Grace Jayanand Prabhu. Jayanand Prabhu, when he got blood cancer, he did not even pay for his treatment. He did not even go for treatment. He knew the body will go, and it is logical, even a devotee is under the laws of nature. He knew death would come, but he did not care. So that is surrender. I mean, of course, that's an extreme surrender I'm talking about.
Correct.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hari Bol. Yes. So we
Thank you.
take one more verse. Atra choda haranti mam
Atra Chudha
Atra choda haranti mam.
itihasam puratanam
Itihasam puratanam.
dutanam Vishnu yamayo
Dutanam Vishnu Yamayo.
samvadastam nibodhame.
Samvadastam nibodhame.
May it
Yes. Yes,
Hare
please.
Krishna. Dandavat
Hare
pranam.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Dandavat pranam.
Translation purport by Sri Prabhupada. Translation. In this regard, learned scholars and saintly persons describe a very old historical incident involving a discussion between the order carriers of Lord Vishnu and those of Yamaraj. Please hear of this from purport. The Puranas, or old history, are sometimes neglected by unintelligent men who consider their descriptions mythological. Actually, the description of the Puranas or the old history of the universe are factual, although not canonical. Puranas record the chief incident that have occurred over many millions of years, not only on this planet, but also on the other planets within the universe. Therefore, all learned and realized Vedic scholars speak with references to the incidents in the Puranas. Rupa Goswami accepts the Puranas to be as important as the Vedas themselves. Therefore, in Bhakti Rasa, he quotes the following verse from the Brahm Yamla. Shruti Smriti Prandi. Shruti Smriti Pranadi Panchanam Vedam Vind. Akinti Harir Bhakti Uttate Eva Kalpati. Devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literature like the Upanishads, Purans, and the Narad Panchat is simply by an unnecessary disturbance in society. A devotee of Krishna must therefore not only to the Vedas, but also the Purans. One should not foolishly consider the Purans mythological. If they were mythological, Sukhdev Goswami would have been taken to recite the old historical incidents concerning the life of Ajamil. Now the history begins as follows. Hare Krishna Varitan.
Hare Krishna. Hmm. So, Shrutis and Smritis, the Upanishads and the Puranas. So, both are actually important. So, there are certain class of Brahmins who completely ignore Puranas, considering them to be imagination. And yet, there are sentimentalists who neglect Upanishads and just study the Puranas. So, both are condemned here. Shrutis and Smritis are both important. Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Adi, Pancharatra Vidhi, all this is important. We cannot neglect. So even in devotional service, we see sometimes devotees, they ignore. It's okay, Prabhu, I just like singing and eating. Prabhupada said, just eat prasadam till you are completely full. Well, Prabhupada said so many things, but Prabhupada importantly said that you practice all the angas of bhakti, all the aspects of bhakti. So, Srila Prabhupada said that one has to study books, one has to chant, one has to preach. But if a devotee is not studying any books, what preaching will he do? In fact, such a devotee will not even chant properly. Most of the devotees who think they like Kirtan actually just like the music and the tune. They don't really like Kirtan. Kirtan means focusing on the holy name of the Lord. In fact, in Srila Prabhupada's times, Prabhupada insisted that, one should not change the tunes while singing. But today we see that devotees are singing in the latest tunes and they keep changing it, tempo, tune, everything is changed all the time. So no, because that way we cannot focus on the holy name. Kirtan must be, once Prabhupada was in Vrindavan and there was some loud Kirtan going on. So there was Prabhupada, there was Brahmanand Swami, and there was one more devotee. I think it was Pradyumna Prabhu. There's 3 or 4 devotees were sitting there and they asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, what do you think about the Kirtan? Prabhupada made a face. He said, like, this is just noise. Then he said, come, I will show you what is Kirtan. Then they went to Prabhupada's apartment. And just the 4 of them, they started doing Kirtan. It was very soft with kartals and mridanga, and they did Kirtan for almost 10 minutes. And all the devotees realized that how meditative that Kirtan was. So Kirtan is not about banging drums or playing keyboards or other things. Kirtan is about focusing on the holy name. How meditative it is. That is Kirtan. So that must be on the basis of what scriptures are saying or what the acharyas are saying. By following such a description, like by understanding the words of the Shrutis, the Smritis, by the Pancharatras, one will actually develop bhakti properly. Otherwise, one will live in the world of imagination. One will just imagine that he's advancing in bhakti, but actually he'll just become a sahajiya. One will think that, oh, he's advancing, but actually, no, his material desires will all be there, intact. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Vijayendra.
We
will discuss about the scriptures, etc. I have total faith in scriptures, and I believe they are authentic, whatever it is. So no doubt in that mind, and it is very purifying. Even by reading them, we may not understand fully, but it purifies. But there are certain things which are mentioned in Puranas and Bhagavatam and even Bhagavad Gita, and recently I'm reading Valmiki's Ramayana. Now, Valmiki Ramayana is supposed to be one of the authentic scriptures with us. There, in many places, but especially Skandakanda I'm now reading, they say in the Sugriva and Bali's kingdom, now there was the utensils of gold and ornamental things were there. Now, they were basically monkeys. I understand they can be very elevated monkeys and they could talk in the human language, etc. I'm not doubting that. But then how can be description like that? Then it says, Sugriv card for the monkeys and the big boats and other things. In Arabs, he says, 2 Arab monkeys came. So this is maybe other, the Arab is now a trillion in our case. Is a difference between that or what used to be unit that time, what the unit we are reading today? So those are bewildering many cases. So how to accept that?
See, first of all, we have to understand that the pastimes we were talking about have taken place in Treta Yuga.
Yeah.
That is almost like how many years? 4,62,000 plus 8, so around 1 million years ago.
7,000 years old.
Yeah, so almost like 13 lakh years ago. So those days were very different. People were bigger. The land itself was different. That yuga was very different. Not even now we see, you know, I mean, Prabhu, you know, you are a military man. You know, you've seen the weapons of Second World War. Like, you know, who can lift those Garand rifles and other things now? Even today's soldiers, they can't even lift 303 properly. Those, I mean, and that we're just talking about 80 years ago.
That's right.
I mean, you know, like in your times, you had this truck called Shaktiman. Now,
I
today,
had the 303 rifles.
you think any soldier can drive a Shaktiman today? You see,
Why Shaktiman? You dodged that time.
yeah,
Dodged,
Shaktiman, they used to drive to Kargil, Dras, and there was these Jongas. So today's soldiers are very, like, then, I mean, they have physically shrunk, literally. So you see that times are changing. Men are shrinking even now in front of our eyes. What to speak of like a million years ago? People were much more powerful, land was much bigger, much more potent. So certainly there was place for 1 trillion monkeys to live with gold ornaments. Like if you remember, like Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was a Shrutidhar. He remembered everything he heard in his life.
Yes.
Mathematics, English, he was a scholar in mathematics and English, and he would not even study books. He would just go to the class, hear the professor, and that was enough for him.
That's we have
And
many
that is just
cases.
100 years ago.
It's bewildering. If a person like me who's now running into 80s, what about the younger generation? They will laugh at it. How can there be 1 crore of monkeys and deers and wild bears and all that? But whatever they describe about the forest, etc., we will agree. I must know. I do agree. The forest must be very rich that time with flora and fountain and the fruits, etc. That part I quite agree and all that. But these numbers, in fact, are finding it difficult to digest. How can crores? Because the population was not as much as it is today. Anyway, probably you rightly said it is Treta Yuga and all that. Now, we should not doubt our scriptures.
No, don't doubt the scriptures. Understand them fully. If there is some contradiction, we should understand that we are mistaken.
Inquisitiveness can be there, but no doubt about it.
Yeah, not skepticism. One should be inquisitive.
Yes. Valmiki means contemporary of Ram.
Yes.
Actually, contemporary of Ram. So he was seeing everything happening there.
Absolutely.
It is wonderful scripture. I had read the Tulsikat Ramayana, but I got interested because this temple inauguration. I said, let me read it at least.
That's nice.
Very interesting. Very educative also. Certain things we had never thought of it. Those things have been mentioned there. And we are enriching for anybody who wants to read, even for the sake of knowledge and illustration. Very, very rich. Very rich.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so we stop here today. Tomorrow we start with the story of Ajamil. So till now we were talking about the preliminaries. We are setting the scene about the mercy of the Lord and how it is manifest. But now, I mean, and how sinful reactions are present in the heart and how they're removed. Now, tomorrow we actually start with the story of Ajamil. So if you're interested, you can join us at 5:30 p.m. So thank you very much, everyone. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada
Tomorrow,
ki jai.
5:30?
Yes, Prabhu?
Tomorrow, 5:30?
Oh, I mean, sorry, Finland time. India time, 8 o'clock.
Finland 5:30 for India time 9.
Yeah, sorry.
We should come 9 at least.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna,
pranam.
Dandavat
Krishna,
pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, all the devotees.